Hello and welcome to another part of the 2019 Fire Emblem Heroes Year-in Review, where I analyze some of the heroes that were released this year. Since there's 2 more banners before the year ends, before taking a look at all legendary or mythic heroes released or all Tempest Trials units released, I'll take a look at our Grand Hero Battle units, since there are no more to come. In this video I am to recommend you some builds and how their stats should be put to use, and in general how to use the heroes you get for free from clearing their respective Grand Hero battles. Starting off in January with the debut of the new weapon type, the Beasts, we got a new GHB along with the Rulers of the Lagoons banner, which was for Naesala. Naesala is a flying blue beast with some of the best stats we've seen so far, which make him a great unit to plus 10. So much so I guarantee you have seen at least some Naesalas around Ether raids, and all of them have the same archetype of a Gale Force Sweeper. For him to shine as a Gale Force Sweeper, he has 2 things going for him. His great base speed of 38, which goes to 41 due to his PRF, and the extra effect he gets when transformed, which is to get +1 movement, which gives him cavalry movement while not being hindered by forests, trenches or rivers, which give him amazing coverage of the map to go along and sweep the enemy team. With such high speed, he is also able to run Gale Force pretty consistently, along with some attack buffs that enable him to use Heavy Blade, since his attack of 32 isn't really enough to run Heavy Blade against buffed strong enemies. He gets defenses that are just enough to survive a hit and proc Desperation, which is probably also the best skill he can use on his B slot instead of Guard, which is what he usually has. His weapon, Raven Kingbeak, also has the effect of dealing up to +7 true damage, meaning this damage cannot be reduced by foes' defenses. Another great thing about Naesala is how cheap he can be to build, with his base kit working great and only requiring Gale Force from 5-star Cordelia or others. And another thing you'll notice from all these units is how they tend to implement 5-star exclusive skills into the hands of free-to-play players, by giving them for free or on GHB/Tempest Trials. This time they made Swift Sparrow more easy to get, a skill that, until Naesala released, was completely exclusive to 5-star units. Overall, Naesala is still one of the best Grail units to plus 10 due to how easy it is to use him, and a very centered focus on sweeping. Next up, we have another Blue Beast unit, Panne. But this time, instead of having a clear focus, Panne's stats are messier. With a really low attack of 29, she's hitting as hard as most dagger units, which tend to have some of the lowest attack stats. Still, she gets 34 speed, which should be good for something, especially considering she gets chill speed to debuff her foes, and her weapon grants her +3 to all stats when not adjacent to any allies, which might help her double. Her weapon, Taglefang, also has the effect of being effective against cavalry units, which might make her useful to go in and sweep some cavalry teams. And her defense of 30 might also be good to survive some hits. It also grants Panne +2 attack when transformed, and inflicts attack defense -4 on foe, which is nice for her survivability and for more damage. Since her weapon likes Panne to be alone, a skill like attack speed solo, while being extremely expensive, is the best skill she can get, while Fury can help her with all her stats, along with easing Desperation procs if you're going to build her like that. For her special, Astram really isn't the best special she can get, considering she doesn't deal that much damage to make the 2.5 times multiplier worth it, so a special like Bonfire or Luna are way better options. And Panne is a unit I've not seen really that much, especially since Naesala launched so close to her, and I mean Naesala clearly has an advantage, so people focus more on him rather than Panne. So I didn't see how people built their Pannes, if they did build them. The next GHB we got was for Rutger, which joined the team for Shafted male free units, which composes of units like Finn, Kanos, and Rutger. Their problem is how good their stats were on their original games, or how iconic they were, and how poorly IS ported them to heroes, by making their skills or stats bad. Rutger was a meme on his original game, being able to reach up to 102% crit rate very easily, generating the "do you even crit" meme. And on Fire Emblem Heroes, since there's no critical hits to get, he doesn't really shine there, with his speed of 39 being the closest thing he can get to his true representation. His speed is one of the best in the game, but it comes with the problem of having all other stats lowered and for some reason high HP of 44. Still, his 32 attack can be managed around to become threatening with his attack defense bond or even presence skills, which grant him more attack than attack defense bond. His defenses are also not that bad, which are enough to hit once and activate Desperation, which is generally the best thing to do with fast units, especially since their other B slot options are way more expensive. Especially the newest B skills, low attack defense, low speed defense. These types of skills, they are too expensive, so what we do is just slap around Desperation. His weapon and special are also not helping him either, making for a quick special like Moonbow, or even a slow cooldown to charge and Flashing Blade. While better options could be Petal Parasol from Summer Fiora or Cake Cutter from the more expensive option Bridal Sigrun. Rutger is a really fast unit that is really similar to Naesala, but he trades Naesala's high movement to infantry exclusive skills such as Flashing Blade, which make for way more consistent procs. Next up we have Shafted Heroes Part 2, Har. The problem with Har lies on his Brave Axe, which needs to be replaced for anything else really to properly work. His focus lies on his attack and defense, on 37 and 36 respectively, which makes skills like Attack Defense Bond, Steady Stance, or Steady Impact work amazingly for his A slot, with the last one, Steady Impact, being the best one to compensate for his low speed of 25, while being extremely expensive to get. His B skill is also not doing him any favors, with Chill Attack or other offensive options also working out great, because Guard isn't really something made for Naesala. Sorry, for Har. The skill he made easily available was Odd Defense Wave, which is also a great skill to keep on him. If I were to build Har, I would get Rear Guard Plus from Echidna, which is available at 4-star, and give him Steady Stance to make him an enemy phase tank, or even with Steady Breath and Bonfire for quick and dangerous procs, comboing even with Quick Repulse for Seal. Har, while having low stats and a bad base kit, with a little bit of tinkering he can become a good unit. Just make sure he's far away from any mages with that low 18 res. Next, we have my favorite unit from this year, Fallen Delthea. Today her GHB was rerun, it's now December 20th, and now she's finally at plus 10. I finally have a plus 10 Delthea, Fallen Delthea. She's a blue infantry mage, and she has really high attack and speed and res. Along with her attack is her focus, but she also has great speed and res. At 36 attack, 33 speed and 28 resistance. Which all work perfectly with her tome, Death, which is essentially Fury 4, so it grants plus 4 to all of her stats, but instead of taking the normal 8 damage from Fury 4, she only takes 4. She takes half the damage of Fury 4, and it already comes with Delthea. This alone already makes her great for soloing maps with Wings of Mercy Dancers, by making Desperation proc even when she's not facing an enemy that can counterattack. So she's basically just taking damage by existing, and that makes soloing maps way easier. Her base kit already has Death Blow and even Attack Wave, which shape her up to be a nuke, but I recommend doing something to her speed, like Present Attack Speed or Swift Sparrow, so she can one-hit kill and also double sturdier units, making for overall a guaranteed win against most units. So if you're going for Desperation, it's nice to have Present Attack Speed, because they both combo when at low HP, but also Swift Sparrow 3, if you have one of those, is also wonderful. Her special works if you're going for her resistance, which also, yeah, you can do this, because she can get high resistance easily, but another option for nuke Delthea is Glimmer or Draconic Aura. I really love using Delthea, and the best part about her is that you don't even need to invest that much on her, since at low merges, and with minor alterations to her base kit, she already is an amazing unit to use. And the next unit I also really like to use, Cynthia. Cynthia is a lance flyer with high speed and defenses, with 37 speed, 27 defense and 29 resistance, which make for a playstyle really similar to Rutger. Desperation, speed buffing weapon, Swift Sparrow, and that's it. On my Cynthia, I use Shell Lance from Summer Cordelia, while there are way many other lance options such as Vanguard Plus from Delthea that make her a defense tank, while you can use Barrier Lance to turn into a res tank. Her skills shape her up to be a support unit, but her stats spell out Sweeper more than support, so a cheap build like that is sure great. Yes, you can keep Fire Sweep Lance Plus, but there's always the problem of not being able to do counter attack, and not being able to get a refine. The main problem with Cynthia is just her voice. It's so obnoxious, it's so bad, I don't even want to use her in my teams. Seriously, you can research on YouTube her voice lines, but I wouldn't recommend it for your own sake. Now for the best Grail unit according to many players, Kronya. Kronya is a colorless dagger infantry unit that truly shines because of her dagger, Athame. A PRF that grants her resistance plus 3 and inflicts def and res -7 on foes within 2 spaces of her target after combat, which is just basic dagger effect. But the great part is now. If foe's HP is not at 100%, so if your foe has taken any damage, Kronya gets attack speed plus 5, and if foe initiates, Kronya counters attack before foe's first attack. So it's essentially Vantage, but a better version of Vantage, because she gets attack speed plus 5, and it's not Kronya that needs to be under 75% HP. No, your foe needs to be under 100%. So if you're going with Duma or even Savage Blow, really, you're already going to get the Vantage effect. Especially considering she gets more attack and foes lose defense after attacking, because of the attack speed plus 5 buff and the dagger effect of def res -7, which make her even more dangerous, especially when paired up with Savage Blow, which allows Kronya to strike first, and even with her low 31 base attack, she's sure to kill whatever's in front of her. The most common build runs around Close Counter, which is really expensive but guarantees coverage against all foes, while being, I think it's the hardest skill to get nowadays, because it's exclusive to Winter Tharja, which you could buy from the Black Friday packs, which released 2 months ago. But no, just 1 month ago. But you can also get it from Takumi, but both are really hard to get. I mean, the Christmas banners are coming back later this month, so if you wanna go for a close counter build on Kronya, now's your time. And her defenses of 22 and 26 respectively are enough for surviving a hit, and she can even run Special Spiral with an AoE special, which makes her essentially Dagger Ophelia. And Kronya is a really great unit to build, as she can hold her ground with low merges and low investment, but she really appreciates and shines at plus 10 with really expensive skills. Now for probably the worst base kit of all Grail units I'm covering, Death Knight. First of all, his name is really bad, Death Knight. It sucks. Second, his skills are as bad as his name. Escape Route is a skill you don't see around that much because of how hard it is to synergize properly, and Death Knight has it. Blazing Flame is also there because I guess he needed a special. Close Guard needed to be more easily available, and finally, the cherry on top of the pile of garbage, Scythe of Serial. Sure, it reduces your cooldown by 1, which might be good, but for it to activate its second effect, which is to get plus 4 to all stats and leave foe unable to make follow-up attacks, he needs to be against a foe that got either extra movement or a visible buff. Which means it's not up to you if the effect triggers, because your foe needs to have extra movement or visible buffs. Especially when some teams don't even have visible buff skills, making this effect really hard to activate. Not that hard, but it's not that consistent. It would activate easily against armored units with Armor March, but due to his mediocre attack and defenses of 35, 30 and 27 respectively, he isn't the best to go against armored units. With a really low speed of 25, it isn't worth investing on it. But unlike some other cavalry units seen previously that had low res but high attack defense, Death Knight goes for all of it and winds up not being good for anything, and requiring so much investment that it's not really worth it. I've seen really few builds for him, and I can't recommend anything apart from Fury, low attack defense, another attack wave, or really skills that like this that go with Scythe of Serial. Make a build around his defense. Oh yeah, but there's another option. Instead of using Scythe of Serial, you do something around his defense with Vanguard and Steady Stance that I think just works out way better than using Scythe of Serial. It's more consistent. And of the few Death Knight builds I've seen, none of them were able to kill my units. Not even one time when a Death Knight rushed straight into my Lilina, which is weak and slow. And Death Knight couldn't double, it couldn't also kill my Lilina. So yeah, I don't recommend Death Knight. Now for a unit that actually has a good PRF, Astram. Astram is a sword infantry unit with his own weapon, Mercurius, one of the 3 Regalia, since Gradivus and Parthia were already in the game. Mercurius is a weapon with 19 might, that, if at the start of the turn Astram is above 50% HP, he and all of his sword, lance, axe, bow, dagger or beast allies within 2 spaces of Astram get +4 to all stats, which is amazing for support and also because it doesn't require you to be near your allies, like Brave Lucina's Gearskogul, because Mercurius makes it a visible buff instead of an in-combat buff, which is what Gearskogul does. Astram also really gets really high stats for HP, attack and speed and defense. Basically everything but his resistance. 44 HP, 35 attack, 36 speed and 36 defense, which are amazing. His resistance is the only thing to be desired, but I mean, you don't even need to care about his resistance when all of his stats are so great, and they are also further enhanced by his weapon, with the only problem being the 50% HP threshold. And the same HP threshold comes in conflict with his B skill, Wrath, which was previously exclusive to 5-star, but it requires him to be under 75% HP for Astram to deal +10 damage. To deal +10 damage once the special triggers, and for him to have his cooldown reduced by 1 each turn. So for both Wrath and Mercurius to proc, you would have to be between 75% HP and 50% HP, which should be a problem. But on my Astram, the Astram that I built, I gave him Soul, which was easy to get and was already enough to proc both skills at once. He also is a really strong unit, so attack amplifying skills like Death Blow or other attack wave are also great. There's also another option of just dumping Mercurius. It's not the best option because even though it has support, it's 19 might you get from this weapon. So if you go for something else, you're gonna lose all that might, that extra attack. But if you wanna go for something that doesn't require your HP, then you use a skill like Brazen and combo with Wrath, you can do this. But my pick is for Mercurius, especially for 19 might and the support, because it's also Astram that gets the +4. He's an amazing unit, with the only downside being he's a sword infantry unit, the most populated class in the game, and his skills are very similar to most other sword infantry units. Conrad is our next unit, and he brings to free-to-play hands 3 skills: Barrier Lance Plus, Chill Attack, and Bracing Stance, so it's a perfect opportunity for fodder. But before dumping him, take a look at his stats: 34 defense and 34 resistance. Both amazing stats which suggest amazing defense coverage, comboing he was made for Fortress Defense Res, and many other skills that boost his defense and res. Even his own A skill, which is Bracing Stance. It also works great with Distant Counter, but Distant Counter is more expensive and you're losing some of that extra resistance and defense. His main problem lies on his attack and speed, both really low at 31 and 22 respectively, which means he needs quick repose to make follow-ups and special procs to deal damage. He is a unit you can play around with, but the best thing to do is go all out on his defenses and make him an Omega tank, especially when he can use the support of Brave Lucina or any cooldown reducing skills for quick procs. On low merges, he isn't really that great, so I suggest either going for the plus 10 or just foddering him. It's not great to have him at plus 0 or at low merge like plus 2. And for our final unit, we have Cormag. Doesn't really matter. The most flexible unit so far. The difference with his flexibility is that, unlike Cynthia, who has high res, he dumps that res, goes to 23 res, which is his less useful stat, and he trades that for higher bases on other stats, with 36 attack and 34 defense. But his speed suffers a bit from that, at 32. His base kit's just like Cynthia, as well as his movement type and his weapon type, so it's best to change for whatever suits you. Being it quick moonbow procs with harmonic lance, Vanguard with steady stance and Ignis, lofty blossoms with swift sparrow, really anything will work with him. Fury, steady stance, mirror impact, anything can work. Sorry, not mirror impact, steady impact is better. I think it's a unit you can build around the most. He's made for that. But the problem is that for Cormag to work, you need to spend a lot of skills on him. Since his base kit is really cheap, aside from Duclos. And Duclos is also a really nice skill that will work nice with any build you choose. And I've seen a lot of builds where Cormag was, for example, a speed demon, but he had summoner support, arena bonus, speed plus 3 seal, and Swift Sparrow 3. So it's really hard to make him shine as a speedy unit as well as a bulky one. And well, he's the unit I would recommend the least for beginners, since he needs too much investment to make a good kit for him. But overall, he can become a good unit just like Har. You just need the right skills and the right strategy to do this. Or just great support from your teammates. Okay, quick intervention. I forgot to talk about Kempf. He just passed me by and I only noticed it when someone commented it. And also apparently recommended Steady Breath for a flyer, which cannot happen because flyers cannot get breath skills. But about Kempf, he is truly the last unit this time. He's a Sword Cavalier that has one of the most interesting skills, his PRF Vanning Edge, which is essentially the union of two staffs, the Pain Plus and Flash Plus staffs. So he deals 10 damage to foes within 2 spaces of his enemy, and inflicts an effect on them that they cannot counterattack through the next actions, which make him really interesting, along with getting defense plus 3 just from the weapon. The greatest thing about this weapon is how it interacts with other units, such as helping some weaker units to deal the finishing blow, or even to get Kronya to proc Athame. There are many examples that benefit from the Pain Plus and Flash Plus effect. He also gets Savage Blow as his C skill, which is for even more status damage with his weapon, and if you're going for someone else to try and improve his mediocre offenses, which are 33 attack and 33 speed, you could replace Savage Blow for Attack Wave, and even use Petal Parasol as his weapon with Chill Speed to get really easy follow-ups, reaching easily 45 speed with this combo. He also comes with good defenses and a Fortress Res skill, which is better replaced for even 4th Draft Res, or the cheaper alternative that helps all of his stats, Fury. Since all of his stats are so easy to build on, Fury really helps, although he takes 6 damage after every combat. Although he's made not to kill and only to inflict the status damage on foes, with some minor investment he can become a tank unit with great attack speed. Although he was made to rival Reinhardt on their original game, he was not made for this in Heroes, especially with his color type. But his special tries to do so by reducing ranged foes damage, which is Aegis. But this truly isn't one of the best specials you can give him, especially since many others have the chance to deal more damage, being either Bonfire if you're giving him Safeguard, or Steady Stance with defense, or even Iceberg with Barrier Blade, or Warding Stance. And he would also like player phase skills due to his high cavalry movement, such as Swift Sparrow or Steady Blow. With builds like these that really help his speed and attack as well, he could also run Gale Force kits if you're going for a really speedy Kempf. But yeah, Kempf is also a really flexible unit, But since he's a cavalry unit, he would like more something that does more damage rather than something that is more tanky, because he can utilize fully the cavalry movement to go in and sweep some foes. And well, just like last time, I think I should rank them in order of who I like the most and which one I think I see being the best investment of your grails. The top 5, just mention top 5, I won't rank all 11 of them. In my opinion, I like Delthea the most, then Kronya, then Astram, then Naesala, and finally Cynthia. And who I see being the most worthy to invest on? Kronya. Kronya takes first place, obviously. Second, Naesala. Third, Delthea. Fourth, Astram. And fifth, Rutger. And well, that has been it for this video. I guess I can call it second part of this year-in review of Fire Emblem Heroes, where I take a look of all units that were released this year and just grab the best of them and talk a little bit about them and overall what happened in 2019 for the game. And thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment with your own opinions on these units and the build you recommend for them. And well, see you next time. And normally I pray to you to get good pulls for your favorite units, but these are all JHB units, so well, until next time, you can summon on them.